Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a good Saturday morning. I'm just sitting here having a few beers today, A&W caffeine-free beers. Fixing to get wild up in here. It's one of my typical days. Drink A&W root beer and think about things I can do to uplift my brothers and sisters out there. That's my life, and I love my life. You guys know that one of my things is numbers, and I watch for patterns and trends and things like that. And so what I do is I go over YouTube and Facebook and other outlets, and I just watch what's going on in the body. And I can see when a virus pops up or when a tumor pops up somewhere and it starts to grow. So I just sit and watch, and then whenever I see something pop up, I'll react, and I'll sometimes I say to myself that I'm a counterpuncher. If you're a boxer, I just respond to what's going on out there. I read a lot of times in the New Testament, and it seems like the apostles were constantly having to go and put out fires that Satan was trying to start in the body. I'm sure the apostles wanted nothing more in the world than to just write in their letters about God's love and how wonderful God is and how wonderful His Son is, but unfortunately, they were constantly having to put out these fires. Satan has been busy since the very beginning. So anyway, I've noticed a trend going on lately, and it's been those out there that call themselves brothers and sisters who are attacking brothers and sisters who are living a spirit-filled life. Scripture says, if you walk in the Spirit, you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Whenever God plucks you out of this hell on earth, whenever God gives you His Spirit, it changes you. Anybody out there who's experienced being called out, God called you. His call is irrevocable. Any one of you that's been called out, the power of God. You know that there was nothing that you did, none of your works deserved His grace, but He called you anyway. You can never say that you did something worthy of His grace to be called out, but He did. And whenever He does call you out, in an instant He changes you. In an instant He changed me from the person I was. I was one of the worst people you could ever imagine. But He changed me. I'm not the man I used to be. And now we're to be examples to others. And God is, once God pulls that plank out of your eye, He lets you see, and you can go around and you can try to pick out the specks in other people's eyes. A lot of people will throw that scripture at you, get the board out of your eye before you try to get the speck out of mine. But when God has done that for you, He sets you out as an example to go around to others and try to gently take out those specks. You don't want to go in too hard and too harsh, because you can damage and do harm and you can run people away. But we have to gently go out and show people the error of their ways. We have this new movement out there now that if anybody tries to point out somebody's wrongs, then you're called a religious person. They're all against religion, which I'm not a religious person. I've never been for religion. I've been for being a follower of God, a brother of Christ, a son of God. That's what it's about. It's not about religion, but anytime you try to point out how you're supposed to live, you get called religious. and you get attacked. I want to read to you from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 12. It says, "Live such good lives among the pagans that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day He visits us." If you're undergoing persecution from people out there who are walking in the flesh and not the Spirit, consider it a good thing. You know, consider it a battle scar. Soldiers are proud of their battle scars. I want you to go to Romans chapter 1, verses 28 through 32. It says, "Furthermore, since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, He gave them over to a depraved mind, to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but they also approve of those who practice them." We have a lot of people out there who have invented this new gospel that it doesn't matter how they live their life. They said that prayer, they love God. They'll tell you how wonderful God is and how wonderful God's grace is, even though they don't understand God's grace. They don't want to hear about walking in the Spirit because they love their lives so much that they're not willing to give up their lives for the one that died for them on the cross. You're no longer your own. You were bought at a price. You take a side seat and let God take the steering wheel. I want to read one more. It's Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. "Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Now listen to this. "Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good and pleasing and perfect will." It's not until you let God clean you up that you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. We have people out there who are living in the flesh every day. They are proud of their addictions. They stand tall in their addictions. They flaunt them on video, whatever it is they're doing. I've seen people flaunting their cigarettes, flaunting their marijuana, flaunting their alcohol, flaunting all their lust of the flesh, and are proud of it. And they say that they know God's good will. They know what God expects of us. If you're someone out there who's being persecuted and you know you've been called out and you felt the power of God, you felt the empowerment that He give you the night or the day that you called out, and you were changed in an instant from who you were to a child of God, count yourselves lucky. Understand that it's nothing personal. It's just the devil is using people who call themselves brothers and sisters as his mouthpiece, and it's only going to get worse. But you have a true family out here that loves you, and we will back you 100%. Always stay strong and know that the spirit that's in you is stronger than the spirit that's in them, and that you have brothers and sisters out there who are going through the same things that you're going through. I love you all. God bless.